Please join me for Jiva praise. Hare Krishna. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girdhari.
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girdhari.
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girdhari.
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girdhari.
Yashodanandana Vrajanarandana.
Yashodanandana Vrajanarandana.
Yashodanandana Vrajanarandana.
Yashodanandana Vrajanarandana.
Yamuna Tira
Munatira Vanachari.
Yamuna Tira
Munatira Vanachari.
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girdhari.
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girdhari.
Yashodanandana Vrajanarandana.
Yashodanandana Vrajanarandana.
Yamuna Tira Vanachari.
Munatira Vanachari.
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Please join me for the invitation prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya
Naram Namaskritya
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswati Vyasam
Tato Jayamudiriye
Tato Jayamudirye
Shravtam Swakatha Krishna
Shravtam Swakatha Krishna
Punyashana Kirtanaha
Punya Shravana Kirtana
Hridayantrasto Bhadrani
Hridayantasto He Bhadrani
Vidunoti Suhasatam
Vidunoti Suhatsatam
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavad Sevaya
Bhagavatiruttam Shloke
Bhaktiruttam Shloke
Bhaktir Bhakti Nashtaki.
Bhaktir Bhakti Nashtaki.
Hare Krishna. So today we will be continuing from Srimadbhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 10, Text 11 and 12. This is it from Hare Krishna. Satsangamukta Dursango Atom no Sahate Buddha Idyamanam Yasho Yasya
Yasho Yasya
Sakrat Akranya Rochanam
Sakradakrana Vochanam
Tasmin Nyastadhya Partha
Srimadbhagavatam class, Canto 1, Chapter 10, verses 11 and 12.
Darshana Sparsha Samklatu Shayanasana Bhojane Satsangamukta Dursango Atim no Sahate Buddha Idyamanam Yasho Yasya Sakrat Akranya Rochanam Tasmanyastadhya Partha Sahiran Viraham Katham Darshana Sparsha Samlapa Shayanasana Bhojane Satsangamukta Dursango Atam Notsahate Buddha Idyamanam Yasho Yasya Sakradakarna Rochanam
Reciting the verses 3 times.
Tasminyastadhya Partha Sahiran Viharam Katham Darshana Sparsha Samlapa
So, ISKCON Temple at Kansas City.
Shayanasana Bhojane Sakrit Akarnya
Shango,
Satsangamukta Dusango,
Hatam Nushate Puraha,
Atum Nutsahate Buddha,
Kiramana Shoyasa,
Vidyamana Vishwayasya,
Sakriya Karana Roshanam,
Sakrita Karna Rochanam,
Hazine Sadisha Partha,
Tasmin Yastadhira Partha,
Saranavirhankatam,
Sahiram Viraham Katam,
Darshana Spasha Sampale,
Darshana Sparasha Samlapa,
Siyamasana Bhojanaha,
Shayana Asana Bhojane, Satsangan Mukta Dusango, Atum Nutsahate Buddha, Vidyamana Vishwayasya, Sakrita Karna Rochanam, Tasmin Yastadhira Partha, Sahiram Viraham Katam, Darshana Sparasha Samlapa, Shayanasana Bhojane, Satsanga,
Satsanga,
by the association of pure devotees,
by the association of devotees.
Mukta Dusanga,
Mukta Sangha,
free from bad materialistic association,
free from bad materialistic association.
Atum,
Atum,
to give up,
to give up.
Na Utsahate,
Na utsahate,
never repents,
never repent.
Buddha,
Buddha,
one who has understood the law,
one has understood.
Kirtyamanam,
Kirtyamanam,
glorifying,
glorifying.
Yasha,
Yasha,
fame, Yasya,
Yasya, whose,
Sakra, once only, Akarnya,
Akarnya, hearing only,
Rochana,
Rochana,
pleasing,
pleasing.
Tasmin,
Tasmin,
unto him,
Nestadhiya,
one who has given his mind unto him,
one who has given mind unto him.
Partha,
Partha,
the sons of Pritha,
the sons of Pritha,
Sahevan,
Sahila,
can tolerate, Viraham,
Viraham,
separation,
separation,
Katham,
Katham,
how,
Darshan,
seeing face to face,
Varsha,
touching,
Samlapa, conversing, Shan, sleeping, Asana, sitting, Bhojana, dining together.
Translation by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The intelligent who have understood the Supreme Lord in association with pure devotees and have become freed from bad materialistic association can never avoid hearing the glories of the Lord, even though they have heard them only once. How then could the Pandavas tolerate separation? For they had been intimately associated with his person, seeing him face to face, touching him, conversing with him, and sleeping, sitting, and dining with him. Purport. The living being's constitutional position is one of serving a superior. He is obliged to serve by force the dictates of illusory material energy in different phases of sense gratification. And in serving the senses, he is never tired. Even though he may be tired, the illusory energy perpetually forces him to do so without being satisfied. There is no end to such sense gratificatory business, and the conditioned soul becomes entangled in such servitude without hope of release. The release is only effected by association with pure devotees. By such association, one is gradually converted to his transcendental consciousness. Thus he can know that his eternal position is to render service unto the Lord and not to the perverted senses in the capacity of lust, anger, desire to lord it over, etc. Material society, friendship and love are all different phases of lust. Home, country, family, society, wealth, and all sorts of corollaries are all causes of bondage in the material world, where the threefold miseries of life are concomitant factors. By associating with pure devotees and by hearing them submissively, attachment for material enjoyment becomes slackened, and attraction for hearing about the transcendental activities of the Lord becomes prominent. Once they will go on progressively without stoppage, like fire in gunpowder.
Jai.
Once they will go on progressively without stoppage, like fire in gunpowder. It is said that Hari, the personality of Godhead, is so transcendently attractive that even those who are self-satisfied by self-realization are factually liberated from all material bondage, also become devotees of the Lord. Under the circumstances, it is easily understood what must have been the position of the Pandavas, who were constant companions of the Lord. They could not even think of separation from Shri Krishna, since the attraction was more intense for them because of continuous personal contact. His remembrance by his form, qualities, name, fame, pastimes, etc. is also attractive for the pure devotee. So much so that he forgets all forms, quality, name, fame, and activities of the mundane world. And due to his mature association with pure devotees, he is not out of contact with the Lord for a moment. Hare Krishna. So please join me in Guru Prati. We can do it together.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachati Deshatarine Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmalitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatripatadham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. So here in these two verses, Pandavas, their attraction and because of the association has been identified as how they tolerate the separation from Krishna and Vipra and Bhava, that's what it's called, separation. It's like the emotions, because of the separation, they become more intense. And intense canto, we also hear how Uddhava, who was actually Lord Krishna's cousin, one of the persons in the days of yore, disciple of Brihaspati, and like a servant, direct associate, advisor for Lord Shri Krishna. When he is seeking, trying to understand what is going on, and in the Bhagavatam discourse, Srila Sanatana Goswami describes at extensive length as how Devasena, after going through various devotees, he finally comes to Uddhava, and then Uddhava says, but Lord's queens, they are more exalted, and these queens say that the gopis are more exalted. Because we don't understand that Lord Krishna, he is in his sleep calling out to the gopis and to the cows. And what does Lord Krishna do in Vrindavan? Surya Palayantam. He's serving the cows. He's running after the cows. Such a wonderful. And so Lord Krishna sends Uddhava to Vrindavan to understand this Vipra and Bhava. And what is Uddhava's desire? So as he sees the loving association is even in separation. So in separation, how can you associate? With your Mana Smriti. Srila Prabhupada, he again and again in Bhagavad Gita is propounding this message from being spoken by Lord Shri Krishna. Mayeva Mana, that's what in the 12th canto he's saying, always think of me. May buddhi niveshya. Always engage your intelligence in my service. So again, and so you will live in me. And the famous verse, 1865 is Manmana Bhava. It starts with Manmana. Always remember me. It doesn't say remember me 2 hours daily. It doesn't say once a while remember me. He says, always remember. And if you can't remember, of course, Mad Bhakta, become my devotee. And Mam Namaskuru. And of course, Mandana Bhakta, Bhakta, Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru. Worship me and pay obeisance unto me. So these messages are very important because unlike the material energy, we, when associating with Krishna, we can actually see the true path of happiness. We are living entity, Jiva Tattva Krishna Nityadas. We are eternal servant of Lord Shri Krishna. And that is the only way when we are associating with the Lord. And Lord is so merciful that He allows us to associate through His holy name. So when we are chanting holy name, Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Lord Krishna and Mother Radha, they are dancing on our tongue, Acharya Sridhi. So we are in direct association. But sometimes when you get something very easily, you may not realize the value it has. And you may not know what value that, what's the value of this. So easily available, chanting of the holy name, glories, and association of Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada, once again, when he's giving us the instruction to the purpose, through his lectures, and through his own life by practice, he's again telling us, reminding us that we have to always engage in service, devotional service, that's the best. Now how can we increase our devotional service, right? If we want to be happy, anandaya vyasa. That's the nature of the living entity. And if we want to be happy, the process is to engage in devotional service. And there is a very nice example, a small story, where a beggar, he wanted to see the king. Right? Why? Because he wanted to, somebody had told him that gold is very shiny. And he said, but how can I see gold? King has a lot of gold, so you can ask him. So the beggar goes to the king. And so king, he says, okay, maybe this beggar is coming to ask for some food, maybe some clothes. But the beggar says, I want to see gold. The king says, ask him, why do you want to see gold? It's just that I want to see gold, I've never seen gold. So the king, he calls his treasurer, he says, why don't you take him, open the treasury drawer and show him gold. So the treasurer takes this beggar, they walk up the stairs to the treasury room, he opens the treasury door, and then he says, picking up some of the golden ornaments, this ornaments are made up of gold. So as soon as the beggar sees the gold, he is amazingly shocked. Why? Then he looks back, the steps that they walked up were also made of gold. But he did not know that those steps were made of gold until he saw the gold. So the the main message is that when we are chanting the holy name, we are direct association, and all nine processes are culminated through the chanting of the holy name, which is a prayer, which is asking Lord Krishna to engage us in His devotional service. And so, when devotional service is what we are praying for, when it comes, it's a great fortune. It's not a right, it's a privilege. And how can we increase our devotional service? That has been also exemplified in the Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, he describes that we have to be in association with the pure devotees, and we have to give the association of non-devotees. Sadhu Sangha Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastra Hai, Love Mata Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhi Hai. So a momentary association with the pure devotee can give us all kind of benediction. The best benediction is devotional service. So how can we increase devotional service? Right? So how can we increase devotional service? I'm asking you, brothers. Srila Rupa Goswami. Yes, go ahead.
By hearing?
Yes, by hearing. By chanting. By being in association. Utsaham nishaya dharya tat karma pravatana sanpatyaga sadavrate sadmir bhakti prasiddhati. Prasiddhati means glorious. Prasiddha means something becomes glorious. So Srila Prabhupada, Srila Rupa Goswami in Shiksha, right? The nectar of instruction, is describing how can we improve, how can we strengthen our bhakti, devotion service. Utsaham. Utsaham means great enthusiasm, with great enthusiasm. Nishchaya, with great determination. Dharya, patience. Now it's very important. You may have great, energy in the beginning, but how much determination you have is important because you have to continue. And then sometimes people get disturbed when they say, okay, I have been chanting for 10 years, 20 years, and I have not received Krishna prema yet, right? For millions of births we have taken with various sanskars, sinful activities, fruitive actions. How can we expect? So we have believed Dharya. Dharya is patience. Tat karma pavartana. So these three, Utsaham, enthusiasm, then Nishya, determination, Dharya, patience, to do what? Tat karma pavartana, the 9 process of devotion service. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. So the 9 process of devotion services, we should be engaging. And I should go some in the 11th canto as reading and writing as well. Because Shravas, they had compiled, the Vedas, Srimadbhagavatam, and many scriptures. And that's important. Then Sangatyaga. So this is Asat Sangatyaga. So the 5th one is to give up the association of materialistic minded people who are interested in sense gratification, living after the infinite glories, Hawaiian women. Right? So we have to give up that association. I see so many brahmacharis around here. You guys are already practicing all these wonderful teachings. So you are realizing the benefit. And then, Sattva-vritti. So following the footsteps of Acharya. Right? Previous Acharyas, previous spiritual masters in the lineage, we have to follow their instruction. Now the following can be done 2 ways. Right? One is by Anusharan, or second one is Anukaran. Now Anukaran is imitation. Anusharan is taking shelter of their instruction. Anukaran is not so good because you're just imitating someone's action. Srila Prabhupada gives the example of a parrot. You may very well learn Hare Krishna Mahamantra. You could be very well chanting Ram, 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 Ram. But as soon as somebody holds his throat about to kill it, it's choking, it goes back to its original nature. So it's very important for us to understand the instruction, not just externally show the symptoms, but also internally embrace the mood, the kind of blessings that we're getting. We have to take it to our heart and really, take to the mood of loving in devotion service. And Lord Krishna, he gives a very interesting instruction in the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Yad karoshi yadashnasi yad juhoshi talasya yad tapasyasi kante tad kurishwa nadapa. And whatever you do, yad karoshi, yadashnasi, whatever you eat, yad juhoshi talasya. Whatever you give away and whatever you offer. So these should be done as an offering to me. So Yad Karoshi, so when we do some action, we do it 3 ways, with mind, body and words. So these 3 elements should be engaged as an offering to Lord Shri Krishna. Yad Karoshi, Yadashnasi, whatever we eat, we should always offer, prepare the program, offer to the deities. And you guys are all practicing this Hare Krishna. And we should accept that as Krishna Prasad, which is also Prasadam Seva. So should we tell that mode that this is, I'm tasting Krishna. Now Krishna says, I'm the tasting water in Bhagavad Gita. And without water, we cannot taste any of the flavors because the tongue requires water as a medium to be able to taste various flavors in the food stuff. So that's also very important. And yet whatever you give away, so what people give away, they do it in charity. That's the way it has been explained. So you give in charity. And whatever you offer in sacrifice. So when you offer in sacrifice, again, it is very clearly understood. Sometimes people say that they are sacrificing for their family, they are sacrificing for their community, they are sacrificing for their nation. But who's the real beneficiary of the sacrifice? So again, Lord Krishna reveals that Bhoktaram Yajatatsam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suhidam Sarvaloka Yatvam Shakti. Bhoktaram Yajatatsam. So he is the beneficiary of all sacrifices. So if we are making any sacrifices in our life, we have to do those sacrifices to please Lord Shri Krishna. If we are trying to make sacrifices for our family, then actually we are in the wrong direction, because we are engaged in with us in the center, right? That's lust, not love. So there's a big difference, because that is seeking sense gratification. And so again, there are various kind of isms. Srila Prabhupada in Nectar of Devotion explains that people, patriotism, nationalism, humanitarianism, all these are reflection of placing oneself in the center. Shri Shri Gavantai Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Shyam Sundar Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Janam Parivashram Ki Jai. How long will we continue? Okay, I can continue. I still have more to discuss. Okay. Hare Krishna. So now, when Srila Rupa Goswami in Updeshamrita, Nectar of Instruction, when he's explaining that there are 6 things that can enhance our devotional service, there must be some things that we should not engage in, which can destroy, right? There must be some things that will destroy our devotional service. So those are also there. Atyahara prayasasya praja punyamagraha jana sanghascha vadyamcha satyavati vinashyati. Vinashyati means vinash, destruction. So whatever advancement we are making, that will get destroyed if we engage in these activities, 6 activities. Atyahara. Atyahara means eating too much. Eating too much as well as collecting too much. Trying to become Lord, thinking that I'm becoming Lord, this is mine. So this mentality destroys our devotional service. Prayasas, endeavoring, over-endeavoring, basically. So over-endeavoring is also very important, because people sometimes in the mood of trying to collect too many things for sense gratification, they engage in over-endeavor. And they lead to the life of pavarka. Pavarka is pa. Pa is for parishram. Parishram is this lot of endeavor. Pa is pena. So you have seen if horse runs for a long time, the foaming happens in its mouth, right? That's pena, the foaming of the mouth. Then pa is bewildered. Basically, a person becomes bewildered. I'm working so hard that my mouth is foaming up, my senses are getting tired, but I'm not getting the result, of all the endeavor that I'm making. So he becomes fearful. Bhava is called bhaya. Is fear. So he becomes fearful of his condition, and he engages in the second more. Starts to do more activities, more engagement, so more foaming happens. What happens in this process? The life passes and comes to the level of ma. Ma means mrityu, death. So that's the wrong path. So prayasas, over-endeavoring, leads to this pavarka path, which causes us to destroy our life and fall down from our current benediction that we have received, this human form of life, which is the perfect good to cross over this ocean of nescience. Prajalpa. Prajalpa is talking nonsense, basically, non-Krishna oriented talks. Talking about all the mundane things of this material world, the temporary things. That is also, distracting us, because now we are engaging conversation, which will bring us down from Krishna consciousness to the materialistic way of life. So that's also something we should avoid. Uttahara, Prayasha, Prajalpa, Niyamagraha. Niyamagraha, and Niyamagraha is being identified as Niyamagraha or Niyamagraha. Niyam agra. Agra means rejecting or avoiding. So niyam refers to rituals. So when we discard rituals, that is also very bad. So there are rituals. Sometimes people say, "Oh, this is too much of effort. This is very difficult." So in the mode of passion, they may reject rituals. Sometimes people in the mode of ignorance, they say, "Oh, I have to get up and do this," and they are lazy by nature. They are sleepy by nature, so they don't engage So that's also very bad. But then the other one is niyam agraha. Agraha is attracted. So if someone is too much attracted to doing rituals, to get name, fame and glories, to acquire various kind of benedictions for fruity, so they become like karma counter, fruity activities, that's also very bad. So we have to understand the spirit behind the ritual. That is ritual, right? Spirit plus ritual is spiritual. But if you just leave the spirit away and focus on ritual and become too attracted to the ritual, then what are we doing? We are engaged in this ritual, we are making a big show to others that, hey, we are engaged in this great activity, so that people will glorify our name fame. Instead of glorifying Shishi Paramita, they will focus on us. So that is also very good. That brings down one's devotional service. Atyahara prayashari projatva niyamagraha jana sanghascha lalacha. Jana sangha, general populace. And when we take their association, it's very important. Devotees, they are very merciful that they give the association to the innocent public. But when we take association from materialistic minded people who are running after name, fame, and glories, wine, and women, so that association will influence us and cause us to fall down. Can we think of some examples from Srimadbhagavatam where the wrong association caused people to fall down? Yes, Guru? Ajamil, yes. Just by a glimpse, he saw a prostitute with a Shudra, yes. Hare Krishna.
For example, King Kamsa.
King? Kamsa? Yes.
When he was counseled by Narada, he actually started to think a little differently, but then he was speaking with his associates who were demons.
Yes. So again, he had all the demonic association. So even though he had the opportunity to associate with Devashi Narada, he was more inclined from his mental perspective. That's giving up an opportunity. And of course, Yogmaya was in effect. She was making him forget about Krishna and more. But ever since he realized that Lord Krishna is in the womb of Devaki, seeing that his sister is pregnant, he became Krishna conscious. And so he was constantly thinking that he is here, and he became fearful. So much fearful that he would not turn the lights off. Right? Once again, the fire power is used at those times to generate heat and light. And he would not sleep in the dark. He was so fearful. So he became Krishna conscious. That was but in the wrong mood, in the mood of fear. So that's demonic propensity. But still it helps. One way or other, one should take to devotional service. Very important thing to do. In this example here, one way or another, one should take to devotional service. Think of Lord Krishna and one will be purified. So his purification started from that point onwards. Hare Krishna. So wonderful examples. So we have seen so many other examples where we see with the association with demonic people. Jana Sanghascha and then Lanyam. Lanyam is greed. Okay, it's very similar to Atyahara, but this greed is, there are two aspects to greed. I am mine, aham mameti. I causes envy, because when we think I'm this body, then associated with the body, and people think that I'm an American, I'm an Indian, I'm a CEO, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I have so many children. So again, one is associated with the thinking, I'm this body, and anything related to the body is causing. So what happens in that case? One becomes envious of others. Srila Prabhupada gives this example when he had visited Japan to get the books printed. The chauffeur had driven him, and he was also in the gathering. So all the other executive and managers, they excused themselves to talk up in a different room. So he was the only one sitting there. And Srila Prabhupada said, "What do you want in life?" So at that time, they had stacked their business cards in the order. The CEO, then vice president, and so forth, and he was at the bottom. So he picks up his card from the bottom and places it on the top. Another example, because that's his mindset. This is because of the envious nature of living entity, that they try to lord over this material energy. which Prabhupada reveals in the purport, this mentality. And then mameti, like mine. This is my wife, these are my children, this is my house, this is my car, this is my bank balance. All this mine. This also causes one to fall down and one becomes lusty, lalya, greedy because of that. So this important aspect is also very important. Lalya, when for materialistic things, causes one to fall down. So these 6 things, overeating, perhaps over-endeavor, Janasanga, which is association with worldly-minded people, prachalpa, gossip, and lalya, all these things, and of course, acquiring more than necessary. These 6 factors can destroy one's devotional service, one's progress on the spiritual path. So we have to really, focus on the important factors which can enable us. And that's why Srila Prabhupada established this society, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Now, Srila Prabhupada didn't name the society as International Society of Krishna Consciousness. Why is that? Because if he had said International Society of Krishna Consciousness, that would have meant that only here get Krishna Consciousness, nowhere else. For means it is promoting, this society is promoting, and there are other organizations that are also promoting Krishna consciousness. So he kept that important principle in mind when he even named the society, which is that actually it is one of the sampradayas. So there are 4 sampradayas: Brahma Sampradaya coming from Lord Brahma, Rudra Sampradaya coming from Lord Shiva, Kumar Sampradaya coming from the Chaturkumars, Sanak, Sanatan, Sananda, and Sanatkumar, and then Shiva Sampradaya coming from Goddess of Lakshmi. And ISKCON is in the Brahma Sampradaya, Brahma Gaurya Sampradaya. Gaurya Sampradaya refers to Lord Gauranga Mahaprabhu, who also appeared in Brahma Sampradaya. So it is for Krishna consciousness. And what are the 6 loving exchanges which enable us to be in devotee association? Hare Krishna.
Srila Goswami says, offering gifts in charity, accepting charitable gifts, offering prasadam, accepting prasadam, healing one's mind confidentially, and acquiring confidentially with the 6 loving changes amongst devotees.
Thank you. Yes. So again, Dadati Pratigranati Gohi Makhyate Krichati Bhunjite Cheva Sadvita Priti Lakshana. Priti Lakshana. These are the signs of love, loving exchanges. What are these? Dadati Pratigranati. Giving of gifts, accepting gifts. Gohi Makhyate. Gohi Makhyate is, discussing important spiritual matters in Krishna consciousness. Pratigranati. Gohi Makhyate Prichati. Prichati is inquiring submissively about the spiritual matters in Krishna consciousness. And Bhunjate Chava, giving of prasadam and accepting prasadam. These 6 activities are loving exchanges. And these enable us, so that was the purpose of establishing this society, so that the devotees would come together, and even the innocent public would come and be engaged in these loving exchanges, and having the exchanges and interaction with the pure devotees, they will get purified. So that's the main message. And here, Pandavas, they were pure devotees of the Lord, pure associates, and how could they feel separation? And again, how can they be the separation from Lord Shri Krishna? Because they were constantly associating with Lord Krishna day and night. And similarly, the temple environment that has been created is actually transcendental environment, right? So city places, mode of passion. Then you see brothels and clubs, nightclubs and all that, that's in the mode of ignorance. Then you see the suburbs area, the jungle, that is in the mode of goodness. But temple is above the 3 modes of material nature. And because of the loving exchanges and constantly engaging in devotional service in like-minded people, we can enhance our spiritual progress and go back home back to God in this very lifetime. But you don't have to wait to give up this the spiritual platform, because you are on the spiritual platform at that time. And Narada, he actually reveals this to Vyasa, that his limbs had become spiritualized when he was engaging in devotional service, even when he was in the body of a boy, the son of a maid servant, and constantly remembering the Lord as he was on his travels. Hare Krishna. So again, we get such amazing lessons through the converts. Again, when looking and we are associating with the directly with the devotees when we hear it. When Srila Prabhupada talks about Devashi Narada, he comes and this is Srila Vyasa. This is we are very, he's very glorious, and we are very grateful for Devashi Narada to appear on the pages of Srimadbhagavatam. So we are directly associating with the devotees of the Lord when we are reading about them. And they are always telling us to associate with the Lord through their examples. Right? And association with the Lord is so easily available. All we have to do is raise our hands and chant.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
So, should we just chant for like minimum 16 rounds, or should we chant all the time? All the time, yes. Srila Prabhupada used to give this example, and this is His Grace Jiva Prabhuji shared. Vrinda's father, not the GBC of Washington DC. So he shared that Srila Prabhupada once instructed when he was present in this association with Srila Prabhupada, and he said that even between taking the morsels of food, you should be chanting. So you get a pause, by the time you pick up something, even that time you should not waste. It's such a great benediction that every time we don't chant the holy name, we don't associate with the devotees, we don't do Krishna Katha, we don't glorify his name from activity pastime, it's a great loss. Right? So we should avail this opportunity that we get. So anytime we get an association of devotees, we should take to it with full-heartedness. And understand our fortunate situation that we are somehow or other in this material world. We have come in the association of devotees. Now, in the purpose, one last message I would like to cover, that Srila Prabhupada is identifying that somehow or other we have to come. Now, sometimes people say, well, so you have to be a devotee to come. No. The kama sarva kama va moksha kama vadara vrena bhakti yogena yajate purishitara. A kama, if you have no desire for sense gratification, but have all desires to serve, Lord Krishna, Shri Shivananda, Shri Shivananda Mohan, Shri Shisham Sundar, then is suitable as well. Sarva kama, on the other side, this is one side of the pendulum, that you only want to serve the Lord. On the other side is sarva kama. If you have all kinds of material desires, you want to enjoy this material world, you want to enjoy name, fame, and glories, sarva kama, to enjoy, by engaging in fruitive activities, somehow or other, you want to enjoy everything in this material world. Moksha kama, even if you have the thought of liberation. So this is Sayujya Mukti. Sayujya Mukti is merging into Brahman. This is for the Jnana Yogis. So if you want to enjoy, and of course, Ashtanga Yogis, they get various kinds of siddhis. They have different sarva-kama level desires. Then moksha kama is, even if you want to merge into Brahman, if that's what is moksha to you, with great enthusiasm, with great energy, you should be engaging in devotional service, Bhakti Yoga. Yajate Purusham. But whose devotional service? Purusham, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna. And then sometimes people say, okay, so if you have to serve the Supreme Lord, that means you are engaging in devotional service. But what about the pure devotees? And in the purpose, Srila Prabhupada referred, gave a hint to that those who are self-realized, they are constantly engaged in my devotional service. Atma Ramascha Manyo Nirdanta Puru Krame Kurvanti Atmati Ittam Bhuta Guru. So again, the personalities, the Manis, Atma Ramascha Manyo Nirdanta Puru Krame Kurvanti Atmati Ittam Guru. So again, they are even attracted to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So even the pure soul, when engaged in yajna, dana, and tapa, yajna is sacrifices, dana is charity, and tapa is austerity. Lord Krishna reveals in Bhagavad Gita, these even attraction. Lord is so merciful and so attractive. Krishna makes all attractive. So he even attracts the fully satisfied, self-realized, pure devotees of the Lord. Hare Krishna. So this is where I would end the class. Hare Krishna. I would like to invite any comments or questions at this time. Hare Krishna. Yes? Any questions or comments? Srimadbhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nandita Parivar Srimad ki jai,
Jai. Hari Hari Bol.
all gracious, 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 all gracious